And welcome back to another episode of DNA's The Dosage. We are at 106 now. That is 106.
Pew 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 pew. Wah, 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 wah.
So welcome back, Caleb. Welcome back,
We're,
Rob.
we're
Oh,
still
thank
working
you,
on the
thank you.
sound effects.
Yeah, we do need to get a soundboard. That needs to happen.
Truth facts.
So Rob, do some homework. I've assigned you a
True
task.
facts about the soundboard.
You're not the boss of me.
No, but
I like how you just no, but
I mean, I'm technically not, but it's fun to pretend, and that's what we do. We pretend to be an educated podcast every time we go live.
that's true. I do try to do research for the podcast. The rest of your shenanigans or whatever, but
I fake a lot of my content, so there's where we're at.
I'm just gonna refrain. Speaking of doing homework and whatnot, tonight it seemed to be a struggle leading into this one.
For some of us.
Okay.
I literally just now finished putting my list in order.
That doesn't surprise me.
I mean, I was scraping, guys. You guys know this.
Yeah.
What we're about to talk about, I don't have much of a puzzle piece to throw in the pot.
Yeah, I mean, like we've talked about before, you're not a huge Xbox guy, but that's okay. I'm sure we're gonna get some interesting feedback from you here because I love it. It's okay. I love alternate perspectives. You're not like
Get ready, because here they come.
you're not like an elitist saying that another console is better than the other.
No, not by any means.
But this just
No, that's
isn't
what I'm
your-
here for.
Right. This just isn't your fancy. So tonight's theme, for those that don't know by looking at the title of this podcast, it is the top 10 Xbox One exclusives over the last, obviously, 7 years. We talked in previous console or episodes about the console cycle. So let me preface with this. There are not a lot of exclusives. Now, the definition of exclusive, meaning it's only available on such platform. So, I mean, I don't even think there's 10, to be honest, because some bleed over into the PC. Some were timed exclusives.
Yeah,
So-
I think you're
Well,
looking at like 5 to 7.
That link that you dropped in the working doc actually had a filter function, and I filtered it to true exclusives, and there are more than 10 on there, but most of them are games I've never even heard of.
Yeah. So when we made this list, then, if anyone wants to correct us, hey, thanks for the host. Shouting out to chat here. If you want to be part of chat community, joining us on Twitch as we record these live, generally every other Wednesday is what we've been doing as of right now. Obviously, turn on notifications and join us in chat. But you're going to notice this list, and again, call us out if it seems incorrect to you. I think none of us had exclusive lists of exclusives, if that makes sense.
No, I think you are correct.
So without further ado, do all of us have 10, though, at least?
I did. I did get to 10. It took some doing, but I got there.
Negatory. Yeah.
How many did you get?
6 a Rooney.
6,
And
okay. So what
Yeah.
we'll do, Rob and I will bounce it off each other till we get to 6. Did you rank them at least?
Me?
Yeah.
They're all tied for first. No, I'm just joking.
They better not be.
These are all the greatest game I've ever played.
And it better not
yeah,
be
they're-
Xbox
they're-
All-Stars.
That was just 1 through 3. I mean,
No, they. I assume you heard the podcast then, the other show.
I did. So if you haven't heard it yet, check out. We have an alternate podcast hosted by yours truly, not me, Caleb.
Yeah, ours truly.
Ours truly, I guess is a better way of putting
Yeah,
it.
very exciting. Yeah, thank you. Anyways, they have a ranking, and so it's an interesting. Like I said, I didn't have a lot of time on these games, so I don't have a lot of like oomph behind my choices. So it's kind of like a wishy-washy ranking, but it's there.
All right. So Rob, losing my voice already. God, we just started. This is gonna be a long night. Rob,
or a short one.
or sure, it's true. Especially if we're missing 4 from one of our a third of our thing here. That's Steiner math, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Rob, you want to kick us off with your number 10?
I guess I could do that. I know I said I just got through putting these in order, but I actually surprised myself going back over my list to see where I dropped this game. Sunset Overdrive is my number 10.
That was a fun
And a
game.
huge part of it was that it was a very unique experience. You know what I mean? It's a very, very bizarre game if you've never played it.
Yeah, I got the fortunate ability to play that because of Game Pass. I think it was a game. Thanks for the host, Batman. Shout out to you in chat. I think it was it a Games with Gold at one time too?
I think it was, yeah.
Okay, I might
I
have
mean,
played it
either
that way
way,
first.
I didn't pay for it.
Same. Yeah, it made my list. I'll talk about it more from my perspective when I get there.
Yeah.
Do you want to
It
add
may
any
or may
more
not
to
have
it?
made my 6.
It may or may not. I'm assuming it did. Do you want to add more to Sunset, Rob?
No. So one other thing, small disclaimer that I also mentioned in my struggle to put together this list is that, normally I don't like to put things in a top 10 list unless I feel like I've given them enough of a shake to really say they're worthy of that spot.
Mhm.
But cards on the table, I just have been so hardcore PS4 this gen that even if there was a game that was good, if it was cross-platform, I probably played it on the PS4 anyway. And now we're narrowing it down even further to exclusive titles to the Xbox. Uh, I only even barely played 12 games, so to make this top 10 list, the criteria kind of was, did I have it on for more than 15 minutes? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but no, I mean, Sunset Overdrive it's like an acid trip in a video game, in a lot of ways, and it's just goofy and it's off the wall, and that's kind of all I can really say about it. I never really got into the meat of the game, so I'm sure that one or both of you will have more valuable insight than I've got here.
Or lessons, right? But yeah.
I believe Caleb
But
probably
yeah,
just picked games. He closed his eyes and pointed.
No, I
just
do
threw
have
darts.
some experience with Sunset, and I actually do have more to talk about. So if it does show up in my list, you guys will hear about that later.
All right then.
Awesome.
All right,
So
so that's my number 10. Travis, hit me. What's yours, buddy?
I'm gonna hit you with my best shot. So I do want to say that too, is we've gone back and forth. Most notably with Trevor. Shout out to you, man. Console wars. There is a war brewing between all of us, and that war is the
Hmm.
discussion of the consoles. Okay, we are very all inclusive as far as the ability to play all these consoles. We have that luxury and privilege, and I'm very thankful for it. But ultimately, we do have biasness to our console preference. And I do have to give an honest thing, and this would probably be a soundbite that's used against me. The biggest reason that Xbox this past year and a half have been touting building up and acquiring developers was because of this struggle tonight here. There were not a lot of games exclusive to their console in this generation. Was that a reason
No.
they lost? Probably not. We'll dive deeper into that in a future episode, I promise you that. And we've discussed a little bit on the surface before. But kicking off my 10th pick here, and this may come as a bit of a surprise, Halo, the Master Chief Collection.
Wow.
That, I guess, low technically.
Yeah, very low from what I was assuming.
I'm a big fan of Halo, as you know. This
Yeah.
I had to do this because of how broken and disappointing that game was. It should not
That
have
sucked.
taken the years that it took to be stable and have quality matchmaking when they are the ones that perfected that. Well, they're not directly, Bungie was, but this should have been something that was ready day one. And it's one of those things that IGN has now been doing re-reviews. I don't know if you've seen this, but they increased the score to, I believe, a 9.5 before they went to the single number rating system. Now they're only doing 1 through 10s, no middles. But yes, the Halo Master Chief Collection, if it wasn't broken, if it didn't have as many problems as it had, it would have been my number one pick, hands down. But because of all the issues, I was like a kid on his first understanding of Christmas getting that game to then open the present and finding it a pile of shit.
That's a picture for you right there.
And I mean, that's being blunt and honest. Like, it was that big of a deal for me. I'm a big Halo guy. It's the reason I got into the Xbox when I did when the original came out. It was the game changer for me. But because of this disappointment, I had to put it low. I can't give it praise when it took so long to get good.
Yeah, I think you have the right to do that, and it makes sense. But I do say I am surprised.
Redbeard said 2K20. It's not exclusive, but
Well, it might be bad enough to make a list everywhere.
you're right. So that's my number 10. Sorry to go on a tangent and dive deep, but I had a lot of splaining to do.
That's all right. Let's bounce it back over to Rob. Locksteady, what you got for number 9?
This being as high on my list does not surprise me, unlike my number 10 and Travis's number 10. But I picked Titanfall, a game which, especially compared to some of the other ones on the list, I actually put a significantly larger amount of hours into. But being the original Titanfall, I don't know if you or the people in the audience really played it all that much, or if at all, but I went into Titanfall really, really excited about the concept. It was basically like take Call of Duty and throw in mechs, and I was like, shit, yeah, let's do this. And then there's no actual campaign, which hurt my feelings. And the multiplayer is a weird, disjointed half campaign. Because, there is a story going on somewhere in there, but I'll be damned if I could figure it out because the level selection was random. And every level had a piece of the story. So, that kind of shit on it for me. But what I'll say on the other side of it is the gameplay mechanics were awesome. Wall running was cool. Piloting the Titans was absolutely a blast. And I mean, it's a first-person shooter on Xbox. Realistically, you got to fuck up bad to wind up at number 9 in a top 10 list. But no, I mean, sincerely, it was, especially being one of the only first-person shooters around that time. I mean, of course, there was a Call of Duty, but that was it. It was Call of Duty and Titanfall, and Titanfall was something new, and it had a unique twist, and I liked it. I mean, I didn't love it, but I liked it. It was cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. Titanfall was a really awesome experience. I was hype on it. Definitely picked it up day one and was all about it for about 4 weeks, and then it ran its course because it was the same grind.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And that was really the thing that got me. Like I said, I put more hours into Titanfall than I did probably any of the other games on this list, realistically. But it was because at the time I had someone to play it with. But that didn't really last very long. So.
I mean, honestly, though, too, Respawn, that was their big one out the gate of forming their company. That was huge for them. For those that don't know, there was a bunch of ex-execs that did Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Let's be real here, because there's 3 games that hold that title now. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remastered. A very confusing state. And now I'm hearing they're doing a Black Ops Remastered. So that's the
rumor. Which
rumor.
Just seems silly if we're being...
Yeah, let's just continue to live off the success that we already, had.
There's actually a Modern Warfare 3 as well. Not to mention the new one that is just Modern Warfare, which is not even a remaster or a reboot.
It's a reimagining.
Yeah.
Anyway, my number 9, though, you mentioned it was your number 10, Sunset Overdrive. The only thing I really wanted to add to that was it reminded me a lot of Jet Set or Jet Grind Radio, the glory of the Dreamcast era, with a bit more polish. But ultimately, I felt that vibe from it. Solid gameplay, a bunch of missions go around on this, colorful, fun environment, and that was really it. It didn't hold my attention long, but it wasn't broken. Master Chief Collection.
I mean, that's why I went. That is part of why I went into it, though, was totally the Jet Set feel.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
so
yeah,
I get that.
Yeah, I guess so. Gee.
Oh, did I?
Well, maybe if you had 10 on your list, you could have got Sunset in sooner.
Ooh, shot to the heart. That one hurts.
Damn.
Well, let's go. Well, there's nothing left to say because he stole all the words possible for that game. We'll move on down to 8, which I can't talk about because I don't have one. Rob?
Uh, um, my number 8 was a game called Recore, which I played probably about as much as Sunset Overdrive, to be honest with you. But no, it was Recore was one I was hype on a lot before it came out, and then it kind of came and went. I didn't even get it right away. I think it wound up being a Games with Gold release, and that was how I scooped it up. That or it's on Game Pass. I can't remember which. But I popped it in. It was visually stunning from the outset, and it had a really kind of cool, unique feature in that you had like the little companions that followed you around, and was cores. I got nothing else for it, to be 100% honest with you. I don't remember the game that well, other than I remembered playing it for about 2 hours, and then promptly never touched it again.
So it did break the 15-minute mark, thus made your list.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never played that game.
Maybe I have. Maybe I haven't.
We'll find out in a couple of entries.
Like an unboxed one at the pawn shop I was at over the weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was a big, like, giant, like, crate-looking box. I was like, oh, that's cool looking. I vaguely remember this game, and that was it. But yes.
What's your number 8 there, Trav?
My 8 was one that I actually played. We attempted once, I think, Rob and I, to play. I definitely did a stream or 2. I can't recall. And this was launch week of it, and it was State of Decay 2. So it was fun, and it improved upon a lot from the first one, but ultimately it didn't hold my attention very long because it was still, I don't want to say clunky because that sounds so diminishing, but it wasn't
wrong though, is the problem.
Yeah, it just wasn't fluid control wise. I don't know, it felt, I don't want to say unfinished either, but it's just polished, I guess. It lacks certain polish is the best way to put it.
I'd say that. That's fair.
It was a good game. It had a good concept to it. It built upon what the first established. And if you are a Game Pass subscriber, I recommend it to play it. It's 8 on my list for a reason. But it is not one of those that I'm going to go and dive deep back into or probably ever complete. Unless it gets enlisted in the achievement.
Yeah.
It gets enlisted in our asshole.
I'm so proud of that.
So the Achievement Search Squad, the home of legendary entertainment. So if you don't know, that's DNA's asshole.
Yep.
And we want to share it with you.
Oh boy. Open to everyone?
Open to everyone.
That's
Come
super
inside.
True. Yeah. All are welcome here. Just get as many in here as you can.
So there's good and bad games. You might
All right.
find some gold, or you might find some shit in this.
Oh boy, guys, I'm getting close here. I'm getting close. Meaning that we're almost to number 6, but we're at number 7.
Let's hit
Rob
with that 7.
Yeah.
Number 7. I took Gears of War 4.
Oh.
Which, I've talked a lot about all of the games on here and how many hours I have or have not put into them, and I think Gears of War 4 actually does have my highest. And you can actually see a huge chunk of that play count if you check out our YouTube archives. Smalls and I did several co-op episodes playing through Gears of War 4.
You did. It was a fun series. I enjoyed watching you guys play that.
I actually, I have a weird love-hate relationship with the Gears of War franchise anymore. Because I really, especially around the time when it came out, I really, really loved Gears of War 1. I thought it was absolutely, one of the top franchises on the Xbox. I thought it was really going to go places. 2 did nothing but build that expectation up in my mind. And then 3 just shit all over my feelings from beginning to end.
But that game was so good.
Okay, so here's the problem. it was, as a game, just purely as a thing that I played, only moderately better than 2, in my opinion. I don't feel like there was a huge, substantial improvement from 2 to 3.
Oh,
Where
see.
3 shines in comparison, in my opinion, is the story. The story in 3 is just great, but it's awful because I cried too much.
See,
3 just hurts my feelings.
I'm gonna have to disagree because there was so much more polish and improvements from 2 to 3.
I I feel like it was just in things that make you feel that way, though.
No,
Like
visually,
I
the
I played them
controls.
almost back to back. I just didn't feel like I had traded one experience for another playing them. Is what it was for me, you know.
I, I,
Like
I, I don't know. I felt it. Maybe it was because I finally had an HD TV. But I still feel
oh,
like,
that'll do it.
well, definitely. But I
Yeah.
just feel that, I don't know. I feel 2 to 3 there was a visual improvement, there was a gameplay mechanic improvement, new weapons introduced. There was a lot of stuff. Was it Horde in 3 or was it 2 for the first time? I can't remember now.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember. I want to say 3, but I didn't have anyone to play multiplayer with
You know,
in 1 or 2
I think it
originally.
was 2, and then they made like a giant leap in it in 3.
See, and that's one area where I can't even really have a discussion because I just didn't do any of the multiplayer stuff
Oh, and
other
I
than the split
obsessed
screen
over it.
co-op in 3.
So for the beta for 3, I capped out what you could do, and you ended up getting like extra in-game things like a golden weapon and other things like that too if you achieve certain ranks or statuses in the beta for 3. So that's how much that I was anticipating 3 and how much I loved 3 in the multiplayer.
Right on.
It was the only one
Well,
that
now see,
I spent a lot of time in the multiplayer.
I could see that, but all of that really builds them to why 4 feels the way that it feels for me, and that is, I really felt like coming out of 3 narratively, we should have been done with those characters. Like the world, universe, whatever you want to call it, fine. You know what I mean? But like Marcus did what he did. We're done. Let's move on. And so then when they were like, it's Marcus's kid, I was like, okay, this could be fine. Like clearly that means it's a separable amount of time in the future. And then they're like, surprise, here's Marcus, and I'm like, come on, guys.
So
Um,
here's the
and
thing
that's
with
where it pushes 4 up for me. And you'll find out what I mean by that as the list continues. But um, otherwise, I felt like 4 was a huge improvement.
okay.
4 absolutely was just a gigantic improvement. As well, it should have been, a generational switch and all. But
So I'll leave my
so that's
thoughts to elaborate on gears because they are in my list as well. So
I figured.
I'll add more to that because
I don't know how you could have this list without putting Gears in it. If we're being honest.
Last note
awkward.
while we're talking about the retro stuff real quick, I just want to say Judgment was hot garbage.
See, I never even played Judgment. I wanted to because it was a side story based on characters that I actually liked, but
Don't
I
tell
heard
me you
nothing
like
but
Baird.
bad things about it.
Baird is not cool.
You know, it is cool. I really like the posters for Gears 4, and that's like all I got. I don't
You know
know
what
why.
my favorite thing about Gears of War as a franchise is? The commercials. And I mean that 100% sincerely. The commercials make me want a Gears of War movie so fucking bad.
Batista.
Especially the one that was set to Mad World.
Yeah.
That was such a fucking awesome commercial.
Just put Batista in it, please.
That'd be sweet.
All right, let me hit you with my number 7 so we can get Caleb in this thing.
In the game.
So my number 7
what do you
was actually one I played near the launch. It might have been launch week or launch day. I can't remember. It was my one and possibly only complete playthrough of a game on our channel, and that was Blair Witch. I had such a fun time with chat. Shout out to Bones, who stuck with me for the ride, as well as others that chimed in and was along for that experience.
Yeah, I was there for a good chunk of it. That was a cool game.
It was very, it was fun. And I'm biased to that world because I loved the movies. So, I felt like I was getting something out of that immersive experience. And while it's not a perfect game, it was fun. It was short enough. It was scary enough, and it kept me interested. And it was fun. And it's what I wanted out of that game for the 5.5 hours for free, right, with Game Pass. And that's why it made,
Yeah.
number 7. So, nice job. I enjoyed it. Caleb,
That's a solid pick.
let's bring
Yeah,
you
get
in. Number
Get
6.
in this list, buddy.
Okay, so here comes the good old cheaty Caleb sneaking on the list, number 6. So this one's lower on my list than the game probably technically should be, but it's more because I feel like it's a cop out for me. So we kind of talked about allowing timed exclusives, and so I put Cuphead at the bottom because I feel like it's cheating. I didn't play it on the Xbox One, but it was kind of still exclusive to that and Microsoft, so it's just my way to crack into the list. But I love Cuphead, played it on the stream, sucked it up, had a lot of fun. Yeah, classic.
Check out
We played that
episode.
on Xbox on the stream, didn't we?
He did episode 25 of the Weekly Dosage in
I
our
guess I did
archives.
technically play it on the Xbox for one night. But when I have it at home, it's just on my PC.
Samesies. I went home and bought it right after that stream because of
You're
that stream.
welcome.
Yeah, that was your debut on our show.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, God,
Was
episode
that
25.
That was 25? I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, so long ago. So, yeah, that was a fun one. We were happy to have you come out and show off your skills for that one, and I think that's a good solid pick for your list there.
Well, thank you. Again, like I said, technically the game, in my experience, should be higher, but I feel like I'm copying out, so I'm putting it at the bottom.
No worries. Rob.
All right, my number 6 was Gears 5.
What the
Which
hell
is why
high
you're
up
gonna
on your
hear-
list?
Here's why you're gonna to hear
Assassin's Creed.
Oh God.
number 1. Not even like
Xbox
Origins or
All-Stars.
Odyssey, just the original Assassin's Creed, because they did that Xbox One enhanced update when they put it out for Games for Gold. No, for real though, Gears 5. And really the only reason it edged it out, I put way more time into 4, but there are two main reasons for me why I feel like 5 edged 4 out, and that was when we did that stream where we did Horde mode.
That was so much fun, by the way. Check that out on our YouTube archives. Dosage and Acumen at YouTube. Look for Horde mode. 100% complete. We did all 50 waves.
We did. But so playing through that, I could feel the level of polish continue from 4 to 5. I wouldn't necessarily say that it was like groundbreaking improvements, but it was noticeable. 5 was noticeably more polished than 4. But the other thing is that 4 continued to push the narrative forward, but in kind of a really unexpected way. And again, I don't have a ton of time put into it. But the fact that it leaned a little more towards getting away from Marcus in some respects made me respect the game a little more. You know what I mean? Because I know like Marcus is the figurehead of the franchise, and that made sense for 1 through 3. But I was really hoping they'd break away from that. And like I mentioned with 4, they kind of didn't. And 5, they sort of did a little bit more. So that's kind of where 5 edged out a little bit for me, more for me, as I felt like it pushed the universe forward a little bit more than 4 did by comparison. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what you're saying is there's an immersion of progression.
It's true. It's
Oh,
true.
boy.
It's true.
There we go.
It's a
That was gonna
Gears,
happen.
Gears pun for you, for those that don't.
Yeah.
Immersion day.
Didn't know it was a pun, but just the way you said it, oh boy, I felt it.
Yeah. Everyone felt that one. It felt
Okay, in their butthole. And what do we call it? Okay, what's the next one?
it. Number
All right, so
6.
moving on, Travis, what do you have for number 6? What emerges from your list next?
Oh dear.
Rare Replay.
Oh,
So this one, for those that don't know, is a collection of hits from the catalog of Rare. Not a complete collection, because they only hold license to a certain amount of things still without renewing. A notable thing missing would be GoldenEye from the N64. They do include a couple Perfect Dark games, a good chunk of the Banjo games, as well as old games going back to the 80s that they were known for. Also, Viva Pinata, Battletoads, a Battletoads arcade version on there. I know I'm missing things off the top of my head. I didn't list it out. I should have. But anyways, Rare Replay.
Gunfight, Lunar Man, Jetpack,
There you go.
Saberwolf.
Thank you.
I just so happen to have the page up. No hints, no spoilers.
Honestly, like, such a great collection for the cost. I got it used, and it's on Game Pass now. Go figure. But I got it used, I think for like $19,
That's a
and
steal.
it really was at the time. And I think you can get it for cheaper now. But I didn't have emulation at that time, and I wanted to play some of those games again. And it was one of the
What's
only ways
emulation?
to do it. What is it? Oop! He said a naughty word on stream. Whoop whoop. But yeah, Rare Replay though makes my number 6 a very cool collection. If you don't know about it, do yourself a solid. Get Game Pass, download it, and have fun. What you got, Caleb, for your number 5?
Number 5 for me, and again, it's a game I didn't get much time in, but this brief amount of time I had, I thoroughly enjoyed just the overall funness of it. Would be Crackdown 3. I know it is not a big popular game for a lot of people. I know it took a long time for people to get this game that they wanted, and it probably didn't live up to their expectations. But I didn't have expectations, so I think that's what helped me enjoy it in my time. I think I spent most of my time just like picking dudes up and throwing them as far as I could, and then like we would see who could throw them farther, taking turns. And so, yeah, just kind of a silly game. I don't think I actually really played any of the kind of missions or waypoints and stuff. I just was like running around trying to just kind of wreak havoc and have fun.
Question: who did you play as?
I played as the big black guy.
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews. What was his? Did they name him Terry Crews in the game? No, I didn't. What did they name him in the game?
I don't recall who they named him in the game, but
Yeah,
I
that was
played as
another-
Terry Crews as well.
There's another reason to play the game. I mean,
You ready for it?
Hashtag facts.
And I need you.
And I miss you.
Anybody
I
ever
think
see
why I
White
was
Chicks?
so excited about Terry Crews was because it was so rumored that he was gonna be voicing a character in Overwatch. Everybody thought it was going to be Doomfist because it just fit his whole kind of fit and feel. And then they
Yeah.
let us down, and he never got in. So then when he did make it into a video game, I was like, oh my gosh, he's like the perfect voice kind of mantra for everything. And so I was like, I'm gonna give this a shot. So I played it on some of my buddies' consoles.
It's a solid game. Honestly, like, it was probably number 11 if I could go that high. If I could turn it up to 11, you know what I mean? It would have made my.
No, I was
11th.
literally about to say the same thing, actually. If we had gone to 11, this would have been on my list.
It was fun. I beat it in a whole weekend. I sat over a weekend and finished it, and not 100%. I didn't find all the orbs, but I finished the story.
Nice. I think it's safe to say I don't have the ability to go to number 11, so I think that's a little rude of you guys, but that's okay. Rob,
See, we
what's your-
should have gone to 11, and then that technically would have accounted for you getting to 8 at least.
Yeah, I guess so. Rob, what do you have sitting at? We're on 5 now, correct?
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
I actually had one we've seen on the list already. I have State of Decay 2.
Boom.
And for me, a huge part of why it... I'm hearing myself.
We're hearing you too.
Yeah, there's an echo.
Okay, yeah, but I'm not supposed to. Oh, Redbeard wants me to slap him. I never sold him an Xbox. We've had this argument. It's semantics.
Oh,
The point
dear.
is, audience, let me know if you would pretty please if you guys are also hearing me twice, because I shouldn't be hearing me at all, and I'm confused by it. But anyway, State of Decay 2 is much higher on my list than it wound up being on yours, Trav.
Yeah, you got a weird echo, bro.
Yeah, and I don't understand why.
Redbeard says, nah, just once. He's only hearing you once.
Okay, well then it doesn't matter. As long as they're only hearing me once, you guys can hear me 3-4 times. It doesn't matter. But it wound up much higher on my list, if for no other reason than because it is probably the second most played game I had on the list. Weird. There's an echo when I stop talking. But anyway, so I put a decent amount of hours into it. I actually had a lot of fun with it. Conceptually, I really loved the game. Because I want something like that where it's less about constantly fighting zombies and more about trying to kind of rebuild things after the apocalypse. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, the zombies are the big thing, but it's not like Left 4 Dead where there's a horde around the corner, or Dead Rising where there's just constantly zombies everywhere.
I
and
like
so
the
that's what it was.
nests. The nests was a cool feature.
Yeah, I thought that was really slick.
And Days Gone utilized stuff like that.
Yes, that's what I kept trying to think of it. It was Days Gone.
Yeah.
Also had a lot of really cool features that were reminiscent.
Which is another great game that made number 5 on my PlayStation list for those that missed that episode. Days Gone.
Yeah, it was a solid one.
Yeah. Well, what's the people are dying to know, Travis? What made 5 on your Xbox list?
So while I'm explaining that, Rob, you want to hop in and out, or out and back in of Discord to see if that fixes
Fine. I'll be right back.
Bye,
it?
Rob.
Sorry, Rob. So my number 5 is very fittingly number 5 because it is Halo 5 Guardians.
Ooh.
So another one quite a bit surprising. As you know, I'm all a big Halo fanboy. But the problem here with this is one of the most important things of Halo they didn't include in this Halo, and that is split screen, you bastards.
That hurt.
Yeah, it really
hurt.
did hurt because one of the first things that my wife and I did early on in a relationship was that first fall, we got an Xbox 360. She got me Call of Duty 2, and there were other games that we'd play together. And then 2 years later, Halo 3 was her introduction into Halo. And we would spend, many nights just playing multiplayer together, split screen, as well as playing through the campaigns together, doing things like especially on Legendary, doing things you rush ahead, I'll stay back in case you die, and then we'll just take turns. That way we don't have to go back to a checkpoint. And it's how we grinded through the campaign on Legendary.
So smart.
Yeah, effective, cheating maybe, but, we wanted to get the damn achievement. So for us, that was a very important aspect of Halo to play split screen together. So the reason it's number 5 is because of that. They removed split screen and they wanted to keep the integrity of 1080, 60 frames per second. And then the story didn't feature, I think there was like 3 or 4 missions that it featured Master Chief, and that's it. So it's like
a bit disappointing.
Yeah, it was kind of a letdown. The thing that saves it, though, to keep it so high on the list was the multiplayer is possibly the best multiplayer in the Halo franchise. So that's what made it still higher up on the list. And it gives me a lot of hope, and they've already addressed for Halo Infinite this year, that split screen is coming back, baby.
Good. Well, I'm going to have to disagree on some points, but maybe you'll hear my points later.
Okay, hit us with your number 4.
Oh, dang, that's right. I'm on the list now. Number 4 for me would be Sunset Overdrive. And I was excited to be the first person to say this, but then you guys had so many extra things on your list that you got way more time to talk about it. But the reason I got the game and looked into it, because I'm like, dude, it's Jet Set Radio, replace the spray paint cans with guns, and you're just like shooting people instead of painting tags. Absolutely love Jet Set Radio, the one that was on like the original Xbox, I believe, like Jet Set Future, I feel like is what it was.
I think that's the title, yeah.
And so, yeah, I really enjoyed that game, and this one had the same kind of feel and just like the outlandish kind of colors and world that you're in. I didn't plug tons of hours into it, but it's definitely one that I kind of nabbed up when I got my Xbox One for that brief period in time.
Yeah, like I said, we've already said our bits on it, and I think you described it even better as far as like the replacing spray cans with guns. So,
yeah, it's literally like you're riding rails. You're just like, and you're still shooting things as you're running by, just like you would be spraying things as you're rolling by. Yeah, it just had that same feel. It just really, really felt good.
I dig it.
Robert?
Rob, did you make it back?
But what?
Okay, not sure if he did.
I don't know, but
Yeah.
Trevor and Chat
hear
says
me?
they have the Master Chef collection where you play as Gordon Ramsay fighting aliens, like where he calls them fucking donkeys. This
is hilarious.
This is really, wow.
All right, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Can you hear us?
Hey, yeah, I could hear you the whole time. I was just waiting for my turn to talk, and then I started talking, and y'all couldn't hear me.
It is now your turn.
Yay! I was gonna read Trevor's comment because I thought it was funny, but we moved on. What are we on? 4?
4.
We're on 4.
My number 4 is Dead Rising 3. Because it is the third most played game I have on the Xbox One.
I'm seeing a trend here.
Well, so what I had to tell myself was if I'm gonna have to order these, I've got to pick a criteria, and obviously, is it good or not wasn't gonna cut it because I don't remember most of these games that well. So the more I played it, the higher it went on the list. um, I mean, Travis and I've talked about Dead Rising before, both as a franchise and as specific to Dead Rising 3. I love the franchise as a whole. I didn't totally love the direction 3 went in the beginning of the game. Travis has informed me that if I get further, it course corrects some of my complaints. So, it's on my list of games to go back to at some point. But yeah, I mean, I love the wacky zombie murdering where you get to duct tape a circular saw to a baseball and just beat the shit out of stuff. I mean, how can you top that?
It seems that I've missed out on an opportunity
How's that?
of duct taping saws to baseballs. I mean, that sounds like up my alley.
It's your average, Wednesday night.
That's how you should be doing all your baseball practice.
Maybe I'm gonna start incorporating it.
You want to get to first base? Dodge this.
You can dodge a wrench. You can dodge a saw on a baseball. No.
That escalated way too fast. But yeah, so I mean, there's not like a ton to say. If you're familiar with Dead Rising, you know why it's a cool game. If you're not familiar with Dead Rising, then I don't know how to explain it to you. It's way too weird.
Yeah.
Well, Trav, what you got?
For my number 4, another fitting one. It's a 4th entry in a series. It is Dead Rising 4. So now we're talking about Dead Rising. You got me excited here.
So weird.
It's so weird. This game, so good. We're back in the mall again. And the thing that really added to this was the DLC. So it's Christmas time, right? You're in the mall. And already the mall is just stupid at Christmas time, right? One of the DLCs...
Now it's full of dead people.
Right. And one of the DLCs turned them into, like elves and Santa things. And
oh, my gosh.
they had, little kiosks, Santa displays, where the kids go meet Santa. And there's just the dead in there. And it kind of, you know how to describe it. It's just so dumb. The blueprints, the weapon combinations as described... you combine a toy lightsaber with things and you can actually make a real lightsaber. There's rockets that combine with rifles, and then you have a rocket launcher rifle that explodes other zombies into pieces. The game is just silly, but it's so much fun. And then,
how did I miss out on these? When were these games? When did they come out? I mean, I'm aware of the games, but
3
I never,
was a launch
I don't
title,
think
and
that they were released.
4 was 2017, I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, I think I just swung and missed there. Those sound like a blast.
Oh, apparently Dead Rising 5 is slated for release April 26th of next year.
Oh my god, yes.
Because I totally fat-fingered trying to search for 4 and hit 5, and so we just learned something new. I didn't know that was coming.
Breaking news.
December 2016.
Breaking news, Rob has bad fingers, and...
So yeah.
Yeah, no, Dead Rising 4 initially launched December of 2016.
Which makes sense that it's a Christmas theme kind of thing in the mall. And eventually, you get, spoiler alert, you get out of the mall and it expands into the adjacent town, and it's such a good game.
Man.
So that's my number 4. Caleb, what's your number 3?
Number 3, again, already been on the list before, but no reason not to talk about it. Rare Replay would be another one of my. I think it's actually my only other stream. Right, we played Battletoads. I think on Rare Replay, on stream, didn't we?
Yeah. That's when you came over for Classics Lounge. That's how we played.
I played the arcade one.
Yeah, and so that's I mainly played Battletoads when I had it. I messed around a little bit with some of the banjo games. I think I got into Conker's Bad Fur Day. I think that's a title that I looked back into. But yeah, mainly kind of got it for Battletoads. That was one of the biggest games me and my brother played just growing up, just in general. It was like Battletoads or Streets of Rage, and those were the only 2 things we played forever. And man, it just felt good to get back into that world.
They're such fun games, and they're so difficult that it makes you want to try to beat them again. Or beat them for the first time if you haven't.
Yes. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I got.
Rob.
Good stuff, man.
Oh, Rob.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, it is my turn. For some reason, I thought it was your turn next.
No. Don't.
So my number three is one that we did actually play on a dosage
Oh.
in one of our little mini segments that we recorded over the holidays, and that is Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yes.
I have always had a weird relationship with Metroidvanias because I never really liked Metroid or Castlevania
Oh.
until Symphony of the Night came out, and then I completely fell in love with the games and the genre. Um, it's caused me to go back and replay some of the older ones here and there, but
As you should.
so
Super
the
Metroid,
point
one of
is,
the
anytime
greatest of
one
all
comes
time.
out, you know what? I'm gonna leave that alone. You and I'll have to discuss that off stream because I have some feelings. Um, but that said, anytime one of these types of games comes out, I kind of am like, oh shit, should I get it? Should I not? And I ultimately did not on Ori originally, and so I'm really glad that we did that for an episode for the dosage, because the game is absolutely phenomenal. The art direction is amazing. The controls are great. The level design is relatively unique. Um, I mean, it's just a really cool franchise, and I'm super excited for the sequel to be coming out next month in March of this year. It was originally slated to come out yesterday, but they bumped it to March.
I thought the
This game is a
sequel
game that would have
was.
been as physically close to being able to be on my list as possible. And by that, I mean somewhere, I'm looking for my game binder. Somewhere when I bought my Xbox One, I have the digital code to download it, and I never did. And I feel so upset because I know how beautiful and how good of a game it was. And somewhere I still have that viable code, and I don't know where it's at. But like it was physically in my hands, and I just never downloaded it, never got it. But yeah, I've heard many great things about it.
So Lana says you're still echoing, and didn't Ori and the Will of the Wisp already come out? Am I confusing something?
No, it was slated for February 11th, and it got pushed back to March.
I thought it was
Hmm.
already out. I thought there were two out already. What am I confusing it with?
I don't know. Maybe you just thought that one was coming out or had come out already, and it hasn't.
Weird. Okay. Um, okay. I'm gonna have to look that up later because I'm confused now. Um, my number three, unless you have more.
Nope.
No, I got that. Or that's it.
Okay. My number three is Gears of War 4. I mean, we already kind of talked a lot about Gears. The only thing I wanted to add was you had talked about the continued inclusion of Marcus in this particular game, and then how they kind of corrected a little bit more in 5. A little bit of history on this one. This is the first one helmed by the new studio completely, meaning that you have to be cautious. And you don't have to be, but I felt they took the cautionary route of not completely overhauling too much and taking everything that was built in this world and just introducing new because they're new to the series, but making it almost like, hey, here are some great characters you like. They're going to play a role in it, but here's us taking the helm and going forward with it for a new trilogy. So I think that's why the inclusion is still important, but yet having it the first part of a new trilogy. You see what I'm saying?
I get you.
Yeah.
So that's just a little bit of insight I want to add, but that's ultimately why I chose Gears of War 4. I had a lot of fun with it. The amount of maps that they kept adding and adding. When I had the remove it from my hard drive, it was over 120 gigabytes.
It's a hefty file
It's a
there.
heavy game, and it was one of the first ones that they started optimizing for 4K as well.
Mm.
So
Did you play 4K?
Yeah, I have a 4K.
Or you wouldn't have? You would not back then. You wouldn't have, right?
No, I had one for Gears 4. This is somewhat of a recent title in the last few years.
Gotcha.
I mean, when they optimized it for the One X for the true 4K, that was within the last few years. So that's my number three. Caleb, what you got for number two?
Number two, I think I surprised myself when I put this out there. One of my probably actually my absolute favorite series, at least within the Microsoft's world of all time, would be Halo. I mean, I loved Halo, so Halo 5 is my number two, and probably the only reason I feel weird saying this that it's not at number one is because it was so freaking hard. I don't know what it was. I sucked at it. I was not good at it at all. I think me and you played a couple times together. I think in co-op, or I mean in multiplayer, and I think it was one of those games that either I got into it too late, so everybody else had kind of got and adjusted to everything, and so I was just like struggle busting it, or just in general, I'm like apparently I suck at that game. But it was still fun, but it took the joy away because I was like, oh man, I am horrible.
Were
But still,
you?
nonetheless,
Now let me
go
ask
ahead.
you this: were you a COD player, like Call of Duty, when it came to shooters?
I played like Black Ops 2, and that's about it. I mean,
Okay.
so I got Black Ops 2. That was kind of my first jump back into video games. So I had my PS3 Slim when I got Assassin's Creed 3, and then I think the next game I got was Black Ops 2, and I played that game for a long time. Um,
So
and then,
as I say, the reason I ask is there's with Halo, especially as the series evolved, it's a very different approach as far as strategy because of shields, right? You're over shield. So
yeah,
it's not like I think that was a lot of the complaints too, especially around that time. The pacing, right? It's not as fast paced, even though it is the fastest in the series. It's still not up to
yeah.
speed with like your Black Ops 4 or anything like
It
that.
definitely felt fast paced for me. I think part of it too. I think this was my first game, and correct me if I'm wrong. Definitely the first Halo series. I think that took some of it maybe from like a Modern Warfare, but where like you could like wall ride and like wall slide and like all these like quick movements to help you like cut around corners and move throughout the maps. And that I think was a new kind of game feature that just wasn't ready for, and couldn't get adjusted to.
Yeah, there was sprinting and stuff too. So this is a great one too. Play 5 and then hop on the Master Chief Collection and play 3. And
Yeah,
holy cow, 3 is like you're a snail. It is incredible how slow that game is comparatively. And it's no
that's
wonder
interesting.
why games like COD 4, the original Modern Warfare, took off like it did because man, there is such a contrast in speed.
Yeah, I think, and my point that I kind of started making before when you put five on your list, you claimed that the multiplayer was possibly the best it's ever been. And for me, I think it's more of just a nostalgia, maybe because of how much hours I put in with a lot of my friends and my brother's friends on just like the original Halo. But I really, really loved those maps, the kind of simplicity, and just some of the other stuff. That is my favorite. But I haven't played many, but that still kind of outranks the ones that I have played.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Rob, you still with
All
us?
right, Rob, Rob Reno,
Yeah,
you there?
yeah. I mean, can you
Go
hear
on
me?
to
I can hear you.
numero dos.
Okay.
What's your number 2?
My number two. I feel like there's a pun here about replaying somebody else's list and how rare that should be,
Oh
but I got
dear.
nothing. No, my number two is Rare Replay. And this
Oh,
one is not necessarily for hours dumped into this specific iteration, but sheer number of hours dumped into the games collected on it. You touched briefly on Conker's Bad Fur Day as one that you checked
hmm.
out. I beat that game on the N64 no less than 7 times.
We got a badass here.
Badass
No, I
alert!
loved it so much. It was so completely fucking ridiculous and horribly inappropriate.
Yeah,
Um,
Hold on, guys.
but
I'm
it's
tweeting
really
out that we have a badass in chat.
yeah. Well, thanks. Um, make sure the internet knows. But no, it's see, you wrecked my train of thought. I forgot what I was going to say now. All of the games in it are good. But Conquer will always hold a special place in my heart. I absolutely love that game.
rightfully so.
I don't think I've ever
So
finished it.
that's that's travesty, man. It has got such a dark ending.
Well, I think it was recommended actually last night during your stream
What to play that on a
on a
Classics
classics.
Lounge?
Yeah,
I
Look,
believe
man,
it was. Yeah.
you'll have to
well,
give it a shot.
we might
Let
have
Travis finally get the ending he's never gotten.
Well, he's not going to get it in one sitting.
That's what she
Well,
said.
I hope he doesn't get it well. What? Okay.
Wow.
Inappropriate young man. All right, so that's what I got. We talked a lot about what was in it already. I don't feel like there's a ton to iterate further, but I love that game, and I love all the other games on it. Really, Bubsy was also recommended, but I don't think that's not rare or on Rare Replay that I'm aware of.
No.
I was to say a few games were recommended during your show last night. If you haven't seen it, Shift Happens, recent stream. We'll throw it on a rerun here on our channel. But it's archived and available right now if you're listening to this on youtube.com/Dose of Nerd Acumen. Check out Shift Happens. There are a few of them on there, but the most recent one with Kevin, definitely check it out.
Yeah, okay, so two things. Definitely check out the most recent one because it was actually goddamn successful for once. That game, for some reason, has fought us every time we've tried to stream it before last night. And even last night, it was a little fidgety, but we got through and it was a good time. Not necessarily appropriate to anything apropos of anything else we've discussed, but I want to take a second to point out our current giveaway progress.
Oh, it's a palindrome.
Yeah. And it's almost 2 palindromes because we are currently at 22,022 bits, which is 22022, but it puts us at 22.02%.
That is pretty crazy.
So for those listening and don't have the visual aid of our Twitch or YouTube here, if you're listening on podcast services around you, thank you. We're doing a giveaway, and you can be part of that giveaway by donating at least 100 bits during any one of our live streams. You get entered into a giveaway, and what we are giving away, since I'm saying giveaway a lot, give it away now, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Give it away, yeah.
We're giving away, God, I keep doing it, an Xbox
What will
Series
people
X.
receive if they win?
They will receive their very own Xbox Series X.
And if they do that, they could have a list of 6 or more top 10 exclusives.
Yeah, I mean, most of these will probably be available Game Pass, which will be on the Series X. So, Lord.
You're welcome. Well, Travis, go ahead and give us your number 2.
My number two is, I had to.
You.
I'm the child here.
I teed it up for you.
Lana in chat says, what I got to give it to your mama. Awkward. Dead Rising 3 is my number 2 because it is the shit. This launch title, I have a poster that I'm looking at down here on my wall. I have the day one edition of the game. And Rob mentioned a lot of things about it, and it does get better. And one of the coolest unlocks in this game is the Mega Man outfit and blaster. And yes,
100% agreement.
You can walk around blasting all the zombies. That it's honestly one of the coolest things.
I have to look that up.
Game. It is so cool. I have some clips on our channel, I think, of that, but it's just this fun, quirky story, and it was pretty ambitious at the time. I mentioned before that it utilized the Kinect, where if you were getting close to zombies, if you were talking in the room, they would hear you and you would alert them. It was a cool way to showcase off the new console, and it was the first time that I'd seen so many characters on screen that you could just mow down with the vehicle without dipping low frame rates. It was smooth as butter. That's my number 2. Caleb.
Are we ready?
Hit us with your number 1.
Drum roll.
Here we go. It is one that I really thought for whatever reason was going to be unique to me on this list, but Rob had to go ahead and ruin it. It would be Recore.
That's what I do.
It is. I actually put a decent amount of time. It's probably, the one of the games I put probably more time into out of all the other ones. And I liked it because if you've been listening to the shows, I'm kind of a sucker for like kind of a sci-fi-y kind of mechanical stuff. And so, yeah, having all these kind of different, what you call them, beasts or whatever kind of your companions are, that were different type of kind of robot-y companions with different cores. Then you're facing other kind of beasts out there with their cores, and you can extract them to get some of their information and powers, and kind of mold your setup and everything. And yeah, I just really liked it. A bit of kind of a puzzly game too, which I feel like is probably something that maybe Rob enjoyed out of it. And yeah, I know I thoroughly enjoyed it, and just kind of like I found the aesthetics of the game to be rather unique as well, and I like that kind of feel of just like I've never seen a game that doesn't even just like look like this physically. And so I don't know. I really I picked it up on a whim. I didn't know anything about the game when I saw it at GameStop after I got my Xbox. I was like, I'm looking for a cheap game. Oh, this thing looks kind of cool. Picked it up, played it, and kind of fell in love with it.
It's a good choice, man.
Now I
Thank
feel
you.
like I have to play it.
You should. You really should. It was good
I
stuff.
find it to be like a low stress game too. Like it didn't feel like it was. I don't know. I didn't get frustrated at it very often.
Caleb, did you ever play Horizon Zero Dawn?
I did, yeah, yeah, I did. I think it was on my my PlayStation list as well. Not super high because I didn't dive in deep. I get super overwhelmed with these open worlds. But yeah, I really enjoyed Horizon Zero.
How would you compare the two? Because based on the previews for both, in the overall thing, they felt somewhat similar, but
Yeah,
obviously in like opposing aesthetics. Horizon was very like cold nature kind of thing, and
yeah. I think Horizon was also like very ultra realistic, right? I mean, it looked like real humans. It looked like real things. Whereas the Recore is a little bit more kind of a cartoony vibe of as far as like the people and characters. Um, I don't know. I think the thing about Horizon Zero Dawn that really drew me in is like that you're facing these super advanced robotic dinosaur things with a bow and arrow. And so for me, that was like such an extreme view on how to take this game on. I would have never expected had you shown me what you're facing, what your kind of weapons would be of choice. Um, I do think overall though it's a rather similar game because there's definitely parts. You have to take the parts from your enemies in Recore to kind of help build and kind of keep up your companions and change some of the features, as well as in Horizon Zero Dawn, you have to take some of the parts to help kind of mold and craft things as you go along. So I think they're very similar, but I would say for I don't know if I can pick a favorite. Probably the Horizon, just because of the aesthetics, because it looked even more beautiful as far as the world went.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Right on.
All right, so is that are
that
we
yeah,
ready for my number one now?
that's my top six. That's
Okay,
what the assignment was, right? Top six.
golf clap. I don't want to be too loud because blow the speakers out. But
Right. What you got?
so my number one was actually on your list, Caleb.
I know.
Um, it was Cuphead.
Oh, wow.
Um, I did play way more of it on the PC than I played of it on the Xbox ultimately. Because like I said, I bought it on PC, but being a timed exclusive, it got to be on the list, and I absolutely love the game. This was another one that from the minute that I saw it announced, I was anxiously awaiting its release. Um, the visuals on it are just bonkers awesome. Um, the gameplay is beyond tight, and holy shit, is it a challenge.
It's
So
very challenging.
yeah, I mean, you talked about it already. I'm not gonna go on forever about it, but it's a really cool game, and thank you again for introducing me to it on that episode. It was a good time. Love the game, man.
Yeah, that's a fantastic game. I loved the art direction. I loved the gameplay. I would have put it on my list if I wasn't so terrible at it. And that was ultimately the most discouraging part about that game was it was so difficult for me for whatever reason.
Oh, very frustrating.
It is deceptively difficult. Like it doesn't look hard when you're watching someone else play it, but holy shit, man.
Yeah, it's like Mega Man on triple steroids, and I still haven't beat Mega Man 11, and I still haven't even come close to beating Cuphead.
Yeah, samesies.
My
I would
only
put it.
regret, I'll get this in before Travis.
Yeah,
Go,
yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Is that my only regret is that I really wished when I did buy it, I would have jumped in a little bit sooner. And they sold a kind of special edition, kind of a release package where you could get the vinyl of the music of the game as well, and kind of including with some art.
Oh,
And
that's
that
cool
would have
as
been.
hell.
I was
That would have
very
been.
upset that I didn't
Yeah.
get a chance to nab that up. And so, yeah, it's my only regret.
Yeah, I'd put it at number 12 if I was continuing to rank. But like I say, I'm not dismissing the game at all. It's a fantastic game. I just think if I would have been better at it, I would have put it on my list. That was the most
Yeah,
discouraging part because I
I think that
loved everything
actually
about it.
if it makes me feel good to actually hear you say that, because now I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy at least about my Halo placement. Like when you're not good at something, it does decrease the interest in it a little.
Well, it's discouraging. It doesn't make you like
Yeah.
if you're not good at something, why do it, right? You're not going to praise
Yeah.
it. But I am going to give it credit where credit's due, and that game was incredible, and I love watching. Shout out to TMR, so the Mexican runner. He's been frequent at the Awesome Games Done Quick stuff. And so if you don't know what that is, check that out. We generally host that when they stream twice a year. But he at one point, I don't know if he still holds it, but he held the world record for that game, and he also
Wow.
held the world record for Battletoads.
Oh, that makes sense.
I stumbled upon his stuff years ago when he started getting recognition on YouTube, and he was streaming there. He got challenged by one of his friends to complete every single NES game, so original Nintendo game. And he started collecting them and then playing through them, some longer than other streams because of the game. And there were certain criteria for those that you couldn't really beat, but you had to get so far. Like Monopoly, for example, right? You win the board game, but you have so many feats you have to accomplish. So he had criteria for each thing he did. And he completed that challenge. It's something like around 900 games. And if you know anything about me, you know I love retro. So that gave me a lot of content for a long time to watch. The guy is generally entertaining. He's funny. And he's just got a good look to his stream. And then he got invited to the Games Done Quick thing and then started achieving world records in these games. Because obviously when you put that much time into stuff, you have a tendency of getting good at it. So if you don't know who he is, check him out, the Mexican Runner. I highly recommend his stuff. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Cuphead. And
I think that means it's your turn for number one then.
yeah, so number one for me is Gears 5. To me, it is the culmination of this new company basically perfecting their craft, right? They did really well before, and now they've been able to fine-tune it visually, story-wise, and gameplay-wise. It leaves me very excited for the next console generation to see what they're going to do with 6 and round out this trilogy. I think we're in great hands for the future of Gears. A lot of people are mad that it's not reinventing the wheel. I don't think it has to. I think they're doing great things with it, and the game modes and the various things that they offer and the story. Gears 5 is definitely a fantastic one for the culmination of the franchise. I shouldn't say culmination of the franchise, but up to this point, I guess. So
Yeah, I feel like definitely that. Obviously, we talked about there wasn't tons of true exclusives to pick from, but I think the fact that multiple Gears series popped up on multiple lists definitely says something good about where the franchise has been headed. So that's something that I may look more into if a Xbox re-enters my household.
And I think it should, because like I said, there's a lot like this. Even though it's not a long list, it's still a great console. I'm very pleased being a supporter of the Xbox. I have had very few disappointment. Currently, I possess 3 Xboxes. I have the day one, I have an S, and I have a One X. So I'm very, very happy and supportive of the console. And like I said, I'm a Halo guy, but like this generation, Gears really kind of took over, and it was mostly because of the mishaps and the stumbling from the Halo franchise. So it's their own fault. Otherwise, they would have been higher up on this list. But that leads us to our final segment of our shows that we always do, and it is
Everybody's favorite.
It is my favorite because I'm always curious on Caleb, what you doing?
Oh boy. Unfortunately, not a lot has changed in the kind of nerd world from my last update. I am still working on Fallen Order. This is what keeps happening in my life. So we are working on stuff in the house. So we're doing a little bit of kind of bathroom renovation. We're going to start digging into the basement soon. And obviously, as a guy who doesn't have a lot of time or find or make the time to play games, when you add those things in, it gets even harder. So like the last 2 days, and hopefully my wife isn't listening because it's going to sound rude. I got home, did some stuff around the house, turned on Fallen Order, ran through like a couple of enemy dudes, and then she was like, all right, let's go work on this. Let's go do this. I'm like, and so I'd have to like make my way back towards the same like meditation point. So I'm getting XP. That's cool, but I'm not making any sort of progress on the game. And so yeah, just kind of like I said last time, getting close to baseball season here, working on that kind of stuff, and yeah, the house. It's exciting. It kind of feels good to have projects around the house. But as far as games go, I feel like I'm gonna dive back into Borderlands 3. I feel like I've really been missing out on some of the new updates and kind of things they've been adding. So I want to try and jump back in on that really quick. But yeah, kind of a little bit boring, but that's what I'm up to.
Nice.
Right on.
Yeah. Hey, Rob,
Yeah.
what you doing?
Uh, I wish I had something interesting to share myself, but if we're being completely honest, not not really a lot. Redbeard in chat throws out the Broken Hearts event starts in Borderlands tomorrow, so now's a good time for you to jump back in there, Caleb. Um,
Yeah.
but no, I mean, really honestly, I haven't been up to a whole lot. My job's been super busy. Um, so I played a couple of board games. I mentioned I think on our last stream,
Yeah.
my normal board game group and I started playing the Rick and Morty Dungeons and Dragons. So, we've had another couple of sessions of that since then. Um, and we went to go see Birds of Prey this past weekend, which I feel like Travis has not seen, but is planning to go this weekend. Did
I
I hear that
have
correctly?
tickets for Saturday.
All
Ooh.
right, so I won't say much. I will say that ultimately I did enjoy the flick. Um, so I'm interested to discuss that later.
I'm
But
I'm gonna be biased, so it'll be an interesting
well,
conversation.
and you might be, but I don't know. As with literally everything I do, I had some nitpicks, but overall I did really enjoy the movie. So it'll be kind of interesting to see from a film, just as a film standpoint, maybe where you and I may agree or disagree on the movie itself. Um, but yeah, after I saw TNA do their stream of Think of the Children, um, Kevin, my wife, and I also played a little bit of it on PC. And I'm a little sad that you wound up in party mode instead of story mode because the story mode is bonkers.
How does it differ?
There's an actual story.
Is I thought it would be just the same thing. That's why we did what we did.
Yeah, no, the levels, like the design and everything, based on what I saw you guys play, the level design and the gameplay mechanics and all that really aren't that different. Um, but the bulk of your unlocks are done through ranking, like how well you do on the level.
Well, I
And
mean, we
so I
were
think
unlocking attires and stuff for our characters in party mode as well.
no, I know, but that's what I'm saying. I think the major distinction between the two is I think it's two different pools.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that for sure because I've only seen the handful of things that we unlocked, but
Right.
the story mode is not, like I said, significantly different. I feel like maybe the tasks might be slightly different, but overall, I mean, it is still the same game either way. But the levels are between the levels, there's an interjection of weird story happenings. Is the only way I can describe it. You just got to see it. It's just silly, but yeah. So that's it. I mean, and we did that Shift Happen stream yesterday, which was a lot of fun. A lot of silly laughter going on there. I enjoyed the shit out of that. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hmm. I thought
That's
of
that's
one
what I
extra
got.
thing. I'm gonna try and squeeze it in before it gets to Travis's.
All right, what
Um,
do you
I,
got?
I can't remember if I brought it up last time or before, but I'm still working on getting my small collection of. I'm getting into comics now, kind of later in life, and so there's a recent mashup of two of my favorite genres of kind of cartoon, superhero, however you want to name them. They did a cross of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And so I have two currently, but I don't have the very first series, so I can't really start reading. So I had one of the comic stores special order me one, so I need to go pick that up so I can kind of dive in. But I'm very excited.
All right, man, that's really cool. I think
Yeah,
I think you may have mentioned it to us. I don't know if it was on the last podcast or not, because that does sound tiny bit familiar. But I mean that sounds pretty cool. It's a
Yeah,
cool
and
thing to
in
collect for
chat,
sure.
Redbeard said the Ninja Turtles and Batman was good. I agree. I read that series. It was super good. That was I wasn't sure how they were going to tie in, and that was pretty cool. So if you're looking for maybe some more comic content, maybe I'll toss that on a Dose of Nerd Audio
Have you seen the
episode, and
movie?
we'll talk about it. I have not seen that movie. No, that's something that I'm still looking to get.
Yeah, you really should. It's really good.
Nice. Well, you know what else? I bet it's really good, Travis. What you doing?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. So most recently, this past weekend, I went through some extra DVDs and movies that I have copies of that I've either upped to Blu-ray or 4K, and sold the extra copies to the pawn shop. With that trade-in, I went shopping for a few games. I picked up Lego Movie for my son. My wife also enjoys them, but ultimately he's been really jumping in the Xbox and starting to play games on his own. He knows how to fire it up and then load his save. So this is really cool to watch him play through the levels with
Sweet.
help here and there. But he's really connected with Legos, and he plays with Legos now. In real life too, he takes apart his set, then puts it back together without the instructions. So this kid's doing
Whoa,
super cool
we
stuff.
got a badass
He's pretty ba.
here. Yeah, that's right. Keep it
Keep it
chop.
PG for the ba. In addition to that, what did I get? Lego Ninjago. I picked up, because it's been missing from my collection, Alan Wake from the 360. It's backwards compatible. So
Oh,
I think there's like a few achievements I wanted to get, and then I wanted to do that for the Achievement Search Squad, the home of Legendary Entertainment. So I wanted to put that in our asshole. That's the acronym. You can't. No, you gotta say it. You can't laugh about this. That's the name of the project. God,
you're right. You're right. Let's keep it
jeez,
PG for our BA. You're right. You're right.
that's what it is. That's DNA's asshole. God, children. Think of the children
Oh my
live
God.
archived rather on our YouTube. I messed that one up. We'll move on. I picked up also a game that did really well that kind of slipped under my radar. That was Control. So I picked that up for Xbox One. I haven't launched it yet because, of course, I get these games home and I want to play. My son wins. He got to play his Lego games
Yes.
and has played it
Yes.
every night since getting it. He played it even this evening. So instead, I messed around on my PlayStation Vita. Whoa, right?
Hey.
So I moved around some
Speaking
stuff
of
on that.
replaying some rare stuff,
Right. Moved some stuff around on that. Reinstalled Uncharted, as I never played Golden Abyss. I know a lot of people are going to shit on me for that. I never played it. So I put that on there. And then I played through Dead Nation.
well, I'm out of this podcast.
Yeah. I played through Dead Nation and beat that this week. Besides that, obviously, Monday we did Andrew Lana's debut. Andrew Lana Scared Stiff. So DNA's ass. Yes, these are things. So if you want to
You
check
can't
that
have
out.
an asshole without an ass.
Right, see?
That's true.
So she is DNA's ass. And Batman in chat says that was awesome. Thank you. We had a lot of fun with that. We had her play Outlast, and we had some cool clips archived on our Instagram. So Dose of Nerd Acumen is on Instagram if you want to check that out. Some cool clips made by our community that captured a lot of the jump scares. So community, thank you for that. And then last night, obviously, Locke was streaming. We were checking that out. Tonight, here we are live with the Dosage. And then we're gearing up for 2 nights in a row to close out the week for the DNA content. We have another episode of NAW tomorrow, episode 178, approaching another milestone here. And then our St. Valentine's Day Massacre pay-per-view event this Friday night. That'll close out our week. And then just looking forward to seeing Birds of Prey, and then having a night out for dinner with just the wife and I. So away from everything for
You in the ass, huh?
me in the ass.
Your words, not mine.
It
Your words,
does.
not mine.
It's true. But that's it. So eventually I'll dive into Control and check that out and just get my Xbox back from my kid. I played also the updating game, which is really fun to play on the PS4. You watch all your games download and update.
Yeah.
I did that as
It's the
well.
best. It's the best game.
It's so terrible. I did that
That should have
yesterday
been
as
number
well
one
too
on
with,
all of our lists.
with Season 2. So if anyone that plays Modern Warfare, Season 2 is out right now. And maybe I'll stream the next episode of my PS4 downloads.
Updating.
And that'll just be like an hour-long episode of just watching downloads. That could
Remember
be really
when they were
entertaining.
like, it's gonna. Remember when they were like, it's gonna have 2 processors, so it can continuously download updates, and when you turn it on, it'll be ready.
Oh,
You guys remember them
they're
saying that?
never ready. I put it in rest
don't-
mode.
God.
Yeah, and I don't know why mine doesn't do that. Like, I know a couple of people who are like, I don't know, you must be doing something wrong. Mine auto updates all the time like it's supposed to. And
Some
I'm like,
do.
"Oh,
Some
shut
games
up,"
do. Not all of
is
them
my
do, though.
point.
Yeah, it doesn't make any
Nothing does
sense.
for me, and I'm told that nothing does for me because my system is not my home system because I do library sharing with my wife. But then none of the stuff that is library shared to her system auto updates fucking either. So I don't know.
Shit's broken.
So who really won, Xbox or PlayStation? Find out later.
I like it. Good cliffhanger. Coming soon
dun,
from
dun.
DNA, the console wars. Speaking of coming soon, our next dosage, we're going to talk about our favorite Switch games, so the Nintendo Switch games. So stay tuned for that episode in the coming weeks. And then we're getting closer and closer to the console wars, as well as a return to something here in a couple months. We're going to be live together in a person, like we can like touch each other. That sounded
We're
weird.
gonna be in a person.
I'm going to bring it back a
Let's not
second.
do assholes then, okay? No assholes.
That is the debut of that. No, for this is again 106, but for 110, we're bringing back ATGC. All the Good Culture returns with the year 2000 in video games. So we're going to have a cool visual aid to go along with our discussion on that one. So that'll be coming.
I'm gonna press so many buttons.
He's going to press all the buttons. So it should be a fun one. As we dive into the 2000s, I think we're going to have a lot of memories to recall. I'm excited to do the 2000s. So, but other than that, if you like what you hear, come watch us on twitch.tv/Dose of Nerd Acumen weekly. Turn on those notifications, give us a follow, let us know what you think. We're also available on Facebook. Join the community, join the chat, give us feedback, let us know what you want to see from us. Then, of course, we're available on podcast services around the universe. Remember what I said last time? Universal. So
I do,
Spotify,
I do.
Google, Apple, Stitcher, Anchor, Breaker. If you like podcasts, I'm sure you can find us. Just search for Dose of Nerd Audio for Caleb's, Dose of Nerd Acumen for the three of us. Be sure to check it out. And, of course, check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and anything online, YouTube, you name it. Just search. Click those buttons on the Googles. We're there.
Do it. Do it now.
Any parting thoughts?
Unless you're driving. Don't do it now if you're driving.
Yeah, no driving, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
No parting thoughts? Nobody?
No, that's it. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Play
Thank you
more
again,
games?
Caleb. Thank you again, Rob. And, of course, the biggest thanks go to our listeners and the people with us in chat for any of our episodes live. We do this all for you, and we can't thank you enough. So we'll check you out on the next episode or in our next live show on twitch.tv/Dose of Nerd Acumen. Thank you again. Have a wonderful night, day, or whatever it is when you're listening to this. And until next time, I hope you all take care.
Peace.
Thanks for listening.